What's up YouTube, this is Demkeys back again with another Unity tutorial, and today I'm going to share a small technique with you that I used for one of the prototypes that I've been working on. Now this may not be the most efficient technique, but I started working on this prototype maybe day before yesterday, and it took me some time to come up with this logic. And once I was ready with it, I figured, why not share it? If it helps someone, then good. So, also, you'll have to excuse the name. I couldn't think of any better name, so I'm going to call the technique water the plant. Yeah, that sounds funny, I know, but if you can think of something better, do let me know, and I shall change the name. Okay, so let's begin. Now to save time, I've already created a background and a ground object and the player. Now I'm going to add a rigid body 2D component to it and also a box collider 2D. Now what we need is our plant. For that I'm going to create a sprite. What that will do is it's going to create an empty game object and attach a sprite renderer component to it, so I can add whatever sprite I want to it, for example this, and that's what will be shown in the object. Okay. Oh, before I continue, I would like to thank, what was his name? Just a minute. Yes, I would like to thank Neo Rice is Good for the sprite sheet. I'll be posting a link to his DeviantArt account and also a link to this sprite sheet in case you guys want to use it. So yeah, let's continue. Yeah, I'm gonna remove this sprite for now, and first I'm going to add a rigid body 2D because we want this object to sit on the ground. I will use fixed angle and is kinematic. I don't think it's necessary for me to use fixed angle if I use is kinematic, because if I'm using is kinematic, the object is not going to be affected by collisions, so no matter how much my player collides with it, it's not going to move from its place. So I'm not sure if using fixed angle is necessary or not, but I'm using it. I'm also going to add a box collider 2D to it, and yes, now I think I can create the trigger. Actually, it looks kind of weird, just an empty object sitting over there. Let me add a sprite to it. Let's start it out with this, and then as the player waters it, it will eventually grow. Yeah, so that trigger. I'm going to create an empty game object. What do I need to attach to this? I need to attach a rigid body 2D and a box collider 2D. Check is trigger because this is a trigger. Let me resize this a little bit. I know it looks pixelated, but what the hell, it's an example. Let's call this trigger. I'm going to give it, I'm going to assign a tag to this trigger, calling it plant trigger. Actually, I don't think that's necessary. Let's see further on. Also, I need to assign a tag to player. So what do I need to do next? Oh yeah, so that you can see the trigger, I'm going to assign a material to it. You might notice that I haven't used the same red uh, as I do in my other tutorials. I just figured this red is less stressful on the eyes, and I don't know, it looked much better than just bright red. Hmm. Okay, I am not able to. What am I missing? Could be this. That's weird. Okay, you know what? I'm going to delete this object and just make a copy of player and place that object over here. I'm sorry, I couldn't figure out what's wrong and I don't want to pause the recording. So the color's gone again. Okay. Okay. Well, I feel stupid. Anyways, it was just behind our background object. So what changes I need to make now? Yeah, is trigger, and it's not going to move, so no need for any of this. Yep, plant trigger. I guess that's it. Oh yeah, change the name. Let's call it plant trigger. Now let's create our player's move script. Sorry for the delay. Mono Develop is taking some time to open up. Okay, so first we'll create a public float variable for our player's move speed, and float h for this whatever I'm doing now. Okay, okay. I also need to create an if statement. Input.getKey, no, get key down. Let's say R. This is the key that we will use to water our plant. And to check whether we can water the plant or no, uh, we are going to access a variable from another class, from another script that we are creating in our plant trigger object. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to create a public static boolean named can water, and initially it will be false. Sorry. Now I'm creating the on trigger enter 2D event. So when this is called, our script will check if call.gameObject.tag is equal to player or not. This means that our player object has entered the trigger or has triggered this event. So if that is the case, then that also means that our player is close enough to the plant that he can water the plant. So I'm going to set can water to true, and we also need to create an on trigger exit 2D event. This will set can water to false, because once the player exits the trigger, he is too far from the plant to actually water it. Okay, so I don't think we need anything more here. Maybe I'm forgetting something. We'll get back to it if I am forgetting something. Okay, let's test and see if this script is working well or not. So if, what is the script's name? Trigger script dot can water. Now you can either write it just like this, trigger trigger script dot can water, or you can write trigger script dot can water equals true. It's the same thing. Then debug.log watered plant. Let's also create an else if, saying if not trigger script dot can water. I hope this is right. Then debug.log player too far from plant. Now let's see if this works. Okay, I have an error. Oops, missed a semicolon. Oh, okay, I think I forgot to change the collider for this object. Yep, sorry about that. Should work fine now. Okay, wait, let me check what's wrong. Okay, oops, forgot to set the move speed. Yep, it's fine now. Let's go to the console. Okay, so when we are out of the trigger, we press R and it says here player too far from plant. When we are inside the trigger, water plant. I think I should place the trigger more closer to the plant. Okay, now let's move on to the growth of the plant. Now if you want to show that the plant is growing, you have to change the sprite or show some kind of animation. Well, mostly it's animation. But yeah, whatever technique you're using, you have to show some kind of change in the plant. So in my case, I'm going to change the sprite and the plant is going to look bigger. Well, the actual size is not going to change. The sprite size is still the same. It's just a different picture being shown. Right now what you see is a bush. The next picture that you will see will be this, a bigger bush, and then a much bigger bush, and then a tree. Okay, so to accomplish this task, what we need to do is we need to be able to change this. We need to be able to change the sprites in the sprite renderer component. Now the best method that I could find, and bear in mind this was with very little research. I didn't spend a lot of time doing research on it, so don't think this is the best method. Also, this trigger method that I just showed you, it's not necessary that you have to use a trigger method. You can also use I think you can also use raycast. Calculate the distance that the player is from the plant and then you can water it. That might actually be much simpler, but this is the technique that I used. Okay, so first we have to create a public sprite, name it current sprite, then a public sprite, no, public int, name it current. Wait, I think I should set this as a static because this will be accessed from our plant script, which I have to create next. Okay, public int current sprite number, and I'll set this to 1 by default. Also, I need to do one more thing. Current sprite equals, wait, before that I should create the 4 sprites. So that'll be public sprite, sprite 1, and just copy that. 2, 3, and 4. Current sprite equals sprite 1. Now, as you can see, the four variables are showing up over here. So what we need to do is drag whichever sprites we want to use, like this and this. Oh, also I don't think I need to use any sprite over here right now. I can set whatever sprite I want through. I've already set it, so once the script starts, current sprite will be equal to sprite 1. Okay, now before we continue with this script, let's create a plant script. One minute. What did I name the plant? Oops, forgot to name the plant. Okay, this is going to be just one line of code. Now I think it'll be 2 lines. First of all, no, I think it's just one line. Get component sprite renderer dot sprite equals move script. Now we are accessing current sprite variable from our move script. So now I think you can only create one sprite renderer component in each object. Let me try creating one more. Nope, it doesn't let you create the same component multiple times. So what happens here is, since plant script is attached to our plant object, so get component of type sprite renderer will look for a sprite renderer component within this object, basically a sprite renderer component attached to this object, and so it's going to end up with this. So then you will be accessing its sprite variable, sprite attribute, I guess, and you will change it to this, and this will initially be equal to sprite 1. Let's see if that works. Yep, it works. So what do we do next? Yes, here we had created this, we had written this line debug.log watered plant. This would show a message in the console saying watered plant. So before this, we can now add this script. Oh, just a minute. I also need to change the current sprite number. It is initially 0. Now I'll tell you why I kept a sprite number. See, because with each change of sprite, the number is going to increase, and so the numbers will go 1, 2, 3, 4. So each time the if statement will check if the current sprite number is 1, it will not use number 1 sprite, it will use number 2 sprite. That's sprite 02. If the current number is 2, it will use sprite 03. So that's how it'll make sure, that's how we can make sure that it doesn't use just any random image. So we'll use if current sprite number equals 1, then current sprite equals sprite 2, and then current sprite number will also be 2. Now we just need to make copies of this if statement. Now I made a mistake over here earlier when I was doing this. It took me some time to figure it out. I did not add else if. I just used if. So these were 3 separate if statements and they were all being checked at once. So I would get random images. Maybe one image will get skipped and eventually it will go to the tree. Or sometimes it would just jump to the tree. Whatever. So yeah. Don't forget to add else. So that means this entire piece of code is one if statement. It's all part of one if statement. Yes. Here we have to check if current sprite number is 2, then the sprite to be used is 3, and then we'll change current sprite number to 3. And if current sprite number is 3, we'll change the current sprite to sprite 4, and current sprite number also to 4. And then of course it will show the message water plant. Now let's see if this works. Okay, let me show you the console as well. Okay, before I enter the trigger, I try to press R a couple of times and I get these warnings. Player too far from plant. Now I will enter the trigger, and now you can see not only has the sorry yeah, now you can see that the sprite has changed. Just a minute, I need to run that again. I did not see what was the first sprite. I think something is wrong. Oh yes, okay, no, nothing is wrong. The first sprite is what it was supposed to be. So yeah, you can see that when we enter the trigger and we press R, it changes the sprite and shows us the message watered plant. I'll go out of the trigger and press R. It says player too far from plant. If I go in again and press, it has now changed the sprite image again. And if I press R again, the image changes again. So yeah, this was it. Uh, Again, there are many other techniques that you can use to accomplish this, but I just thought I'd share this with you. If it helps you, well and good. So I hope you found this this game development technique useful. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.